For this section of the demonstration, we're going to look at how to do a powder brow. Now we already know how to map, and we know how to map on both skins and live models. So we're just going to set that up for you now. We like to find our points, A, B, and C, and as well as the lower parts of that. And then of course we just basically connect our dots. A, B, and C. Making sure that A is directly across from C. Let me just connect our dots. You can do this on both the practice skin and the live model, where you just kind of dot like this, or you can draw it in a solid line using your ink so that you don't need any extra pens or markers. And this is really easy to wipe off the face once you've established a nice visible outline. So we have our shape, our map design that's level, even on both sides, and we're ready to start. And basically for our powder brow, it's just a series of pixelated dots. And you can see I take my time to work very carefully on the perimeter of the brow so that once I wipe this off, I can see exactly where I need to fill in. And there's no wondering where my shape is. Now usually when it comes to your powder brow, you can do just a powder brow with steady, even coverage throughout the whole thing. Or you can mix and match it. You can begin your hair stroke first and then fill it in with powder wherever it needs to. You have to really look at your person's eyebrow. Is it missing in just patches? Is it sparse? Could they benefit from both or just one? It really depends. So what I like to encourage you to do is to create a menu with various different types and styles and techniques of eyebrows so that the client can actually take a look at it and see a visual representation of each method and select which one they think they would like to see for them. Of course, you have to keep in mind their skin type. You know, are they oily or dry? And will hair strokes hold, or will the powder brow be the best option for them? If the powder brow is the best option for them, then there's a variety of ways you can do a powder brow. You can do an ombre as the powder brow, where it's lighter at the front and less saturated, and it gets darker throughout the tail. And there's various levels of darkness. So you can start with the lower, you know, the line that we're working on now, that can get darker while the uppermost part of it stays lighter. So there's different degrees of powder brows and ombre. So it's nice to practice all of them and see which ones you like. And let your clients see it too, so they know what you're capable of. And this is all we're doing, literally at this speed, going with a number 1 needle, going dot by dot in a pixelated form. We're not pressing very hard, we're just moving along very swiftly. And the darkness or saturation will depend on how often you go over the area. So to get that ombre effect, you will do this very same pixelated method. It's just that for the parts that you want to keep lighter, you will not go over them again. And for the parts that you want to build up and make darker, then those are the areas that you keep going over until you've arrived at the look that you're going for. But this is our basic foundation right here. And just like the hair stroke method, it usually, on average, will take the same 5 passes. But that's great because it gives you a chance to build it up little by little without oversaturating anything. And here we go with round 2, or I should say pass number 2. You can see the outline very softly of what we're going for, and that is ideal. This is exactly where we want to be at this point. You have total control to go over exactly where you need to go and at the intensity you want to achieve. Here you can listen to the speed, and you can almost even feel how hard I'm pressing. You can kind of feel the vibration as the needle hits the practice skin. And so you can see it's not very heavy and it's not very deep, and we're not lingering on a certain dot for an extensive period of time. We're steadily moving along at a nice even pace. What I really like about this method is that you can keep fixing and editing the shape as you go. And there's a lot of room for, you don't have to worry about exact placement of every hair stroke. It's so forgiving and super easy. It literally takes the stress off of getting each and every hair stroke perfect. It's actually one of my favorite brows to do. Unfortunately, because of the hyper marketing that's happening with the microblading, a lot of people have the idea that they really want to see the hair stroke, every little individual hair stroke. Unfortunately, it's just not the best option for a lot of people. This actually is a great option once it's all finished and healed. It lasts longer. So for instance, let's say your microblading would last from 6 to 8 months before it faded out. And then our machine hair stroke method could last between 8 and 12 months. Well, this might get you an extra year in there, almost 18 months before this person will need a touch-up, or I'll say a color boost. It also has really great success in healing as well without any issues or blotchy, patchy spots. And so this is the beginning of pass number 3. It's developing right on schedule very nicely, and it's going to heal so nice. And it's literally at this point where we can start to think about where we want to go with this brow. Now, you're the artist, you're the designer. You get to decide, does this person, will she look good with some hair strokes in the front? Because right now I'm building up the base of this, the bottom incline of this brow. I usually like to leave the upper part of the brow a lot softer, and In that softness, I can play with a softer color, like a warmer golden color, or this is where I can introduce some hair strokes. This is what you get to decide for this person based on what their eyebrows present. If they have a few hairs there and you feel like you can match some of the hairs in the same direction and the same hair stroke, you might get to see some of that soft hair stroke along the top border right there. In the next part of this video, I'm going to demonstrate just that. We're actually going to put just a few hair strokes in the front lighter part of it. If I didn't do the hair strokes, it literally could be left as an ombre powder brow, but I wanted to add the hair strokes just so you can see where we're adding them just a little bit to make a more artistic and designed eyebrow. For those people who like a more like a combination between totally natural, but they want the benefit of low maintenance, and also they like the appearance of like a makeup finished polished look. So this might be a good option for them. And usually at this part right here, that lighter part in the front top is where I taper out and soften my touch to keep the actual pigment retention a lot softer. Now, there are a variety of ways that you can do this. You can add dilution to the pigment at this part to create that softer look and save this little part for last. But I often feel like that's an extra unnecessary step. Just by not going over that area again and again, it's going to naturally automatically heal softer without needing to purchase an extra dilution supply. See that? So we have it more formed along the bottom and it's lighter in that top part of the corner, point A, across to point B. Let me turn that around for you. So that actually would be your ombre brow right there. Now if we were to completely fill that part in, it would be your basic powder brow. As you can see here, it's the perfect solution for a lot of people. In the picture above, that's the immediately after, and below is the healed picture. Sometimes that's the perfect thing